Good day, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming by. I do see a few people in the audience, so I appreciate you guys coming by to listen and hear about Fathom. We did have a little chat on camera beforehand, so these are real people, but they do have some cool avatars to show off that they created here. So they're going to be with us live virtually in 3D representation. So I've Sir Jay and Bishop here. I guess to start us off nice and easy, if you maybe just want to introduce yourselves quickly for the usual song and dance. And also, like all times, please do like and subscribe to the channel so you can get this kind of info firsthand. You guys can choose who wants to go first.
Sure. My name is Bishop. I'm the guy here at the bottom, waving my hands around.
The Yabonks hands.
But we've been in DeFi working on this project now for over a year on Fathom alone. So we met back in Everise about almost a year and a half ago, and we've been working on this project together since then. I guess what else would you like to know about me?
Whatever you'd like. So if that's good, we can go ahead to Sir Jay.
Yeah. Well, I'm Sir Jay. So yeah, I've been playing around in DeFi for a little over a year and a half now. Kind of got in with SafeMoon, and then just started diving deep into everything crypto. I got very involved in another project, became a moderator and stuff. That's where Bishop and I met, and during that time, I was basically really diving deep into the transactions and how everything worked, because some tokens would go up 50x at launch, others would go up half an x or so. And so for me, it was what's the difference here? Why are some of these doing this? And so I learned how all the AMMs work. Basically, understood how the calculations, how the pricing and all that stuff works. And from there, just started watching all these other projects, especially ones that seem like great ideas, and just watched them fail over and over again. And just that was when I really paid attention to why they were failing, and set out to create essentially a protocol that would be self-sustainable and fair to all investors, using tokenomics and the management of the system. And that's where Fathom has come from.
Nice.
Literally watching everybody else fail and just putting in the protections so we don't have the same fate.
Nice. And that was what when reading through the white paper and stuff like that and going through some of the details, that was definitely transparent to me, that it just seemed like it was kind of taking a little bit of everything. And it definitely shows that there's been some time taken, because it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's been even changes possibly made up until recently based on some of the things that have happened just now with bots and whatnot. So it feels like it's just been an evolution over time, and you guys have taken your time to really hopefully create something special here that's coming out sometime in the new year.
Yep, sometime around mid-January is when we're looking to launch. We'll get that date. There will be a pre-sale first, and so we'll get that date down and announced here pretty soon.
Nice.
But yeah, what we have now is not what we started with. I mean, just even the fact that initially we were like, we need revenue because revenue is going to be long-term sustainability. And we were looking at crypto miners a year ago, and crypto miners were hot, but it became very apparent going that route was not the correct route, because it was, they were very expensive. Getting them hosted was nearly impossible. So we were looking at building out a whole system to host them ourselves. But then it was going to take months and months to get them in-house up and running. So we just shifted over to a proof of stake model for revenue, with validators, nodes on layer 1 chains, but also beyond that, other protocols that are doing well, and getting our own trading bots. So we're going to basically have a very, very vast revenue stream coming in multiple different places, because just like everything else, it's not smart to put all of your funds into one location, right? You don't do that as an investor. We're not going to do that as a protocol.
Nice.
And that's another protection just for all the investors.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. Good. So I guess how we want to go about this, because it is a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say complicated. It's not as complicated as I think people make it out to be at first, but it is overwhelming when you first start looking through it. I think, and I don't know if an elevator pitch would really do it any justice. So I wonder if it's best to kind of get into maybe either a white paper or however you'd like to go about starting the conversation on how this protocol is going to work from start to finish within reason.
So I guess the one important thing that you said there, it's kind of hard to, it's simpler than what it seems, but it's kind of hard to wrap your head around because we're also used to doing cryptocurrency in a certain type of way where everything is based on the amount of tokens that you have. But we're kind of changing the game in a way where it's based on the value of those tokens. And once you start to get your head around and all the different meanings that means, you see that it creates a lot of different opportunities that other tokens just don't have.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe as we go through, we might have to mention some protocols, but keep in mind, guys, it's going to be, might be a comparison to that, but it's going to be why it's different as well. So if names get mentioned that you don't like, then please hold off and listen to the end result of the conversation before making too many judgments. Because I know we can get into those games sometimes. So yeah, so did you want me to pull up the white paper? Do we want to just have a general chat about it going first?
Yeah, I mean, I can do that as well. But I guess the first thing is we are, how are we similar to what everybody should know? So we are going to be, it's going to be a tradable token. Fathom will be a token on the Binance Smart Chain. It will have movement to it. It's going to be tradable. So that's the first thing. And then you would stake that token into the staking system, just like any other protocol. But that's where the magic really happens, is through the staking system. And then our rewards are coming from a rewards pool, and there'll be coming out consistently, similar to how the rebase tokens do reward. However, we are not rebase. We are not changing our total supply. We just have a very large pool of tokens that will get replenished as we generate revenue and buy back our own token and refill that pool.
And I guess to illustrate that a little bit is really, and again, why it's different is the fact that you're not rebasing the token you're buying. You have a separate quote unquote dividends pool where these funds are coming from, and you'll be feeding that pool with funds from the earnings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's a 1 billion fixed supply, and half of that supply will be in that rewards pool at launch.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so here's our white paper. I guess everybody can see it, right?
Yeah, I can. I didn't even have to share a screen with you or nothing.
I can even point to it.
There you go. Look at that. And what I'll do is I'll pull you up on your own there, just so, because I can't do it that way. I'm going to have to do. Anyways, keep going on. I will make it bigger for you.
Oh, that's fine. So Fathom, so our slogan has become a new way. We have had several other options that we've played with, but it turned out, at the end of the day, what we're doing, so many of what we're doing is just new. It's different from what you see everywhere else. So we're like, let's just go with a new way, because everything is a new way, pretty much, other than being the tradable token and having a staking system. So this is our white paper. If you've looked through it, great. If not, we have Bishop has spent his life on this thing. And I made a comment in Discord the one night that it's possible we have spent more time on this white paper than a lot of protocols launch with spending on their entire protocol. Because we went through so much time, so many hours, grueling hours, going over this with some of our OGs. And this is back in last spring, March, April, and May, to make sure we got the wording right, because a lot of this, there's no term for it, and we weren't sure how to even present it. But just to show you, if you haven't done this yet, you can click on all these are hyperlinks that take you to the spot into the white paper, which is hopefully helpful.
Yep, and you can actually just click the title and jump you right back to the main screen.
Oh, right, I forgot. Thank you.
Very versatile white paper. I love it.
Yeah. So, Bishop, do you want to start with this, and we'll go from there?
Sure. So we started with what the definitions of Fathom are, because Fathom actually has two different definitions currently. One is to come to an understanding. So can you fathom the possibilities? And that's one of the biggest things that you're going to have to do with our protocol as we're going through this. You're going to have to really think outside the box and kind of fathom some new ideas here. And also,
can you fathom our system? Because becoming the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Hopefully help here today a bit.
Yep, and then we have another definition, which is a noun, and it's actually a unit of length equal to 6 feet used for measuring the depth of water. So the ocean is over 2,000 fathoms deep. And that's kind of how you can see the waves, you can see everything else. Our whole ecosystem is based around water.
Nice.
We're not going to the moon, we're going to the deepest depths of the ocean. And then for cryptocurrency, we made our own definition. It's just a Binance Smart Chain token. And Fathom revolutionized staking in DeFi. You going to take this one then?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take over. All right, so we'll start with a new way to sustain. So, what you see in a lot of protocols, at least in my experience, they launch a token, then they start promising all these different utilities that they're going to create, and generally the utilities are there to increase awareness and bring in some kind of revenue, or at least bring in new buyers, because once the new buyers stop, once the hype dies, they all have the same fate where if you look at the chart and you watch, it just drops and drops and drops and never really recovers. So what we've basically done is we're taking that fate away. So our focus from the start is going to be building this revenue stream using, like I said before, validators, trading bots, other protocols that are working well to bring outside revenue in. So we will always have our own buybacks going on. And those buybacks will actually be run through an API, so that they will be whatever, timeline and amount we set it to. So there'll be potentially like every hour there'll be a buyback occurring, or, and we'll be able to adjust that for different reasons regarding with management. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But yeah, so we're focusing on revenue because that we know is the backbone. It's the lifeline, the long-term sustainability of any project out there. This way, once the hype dies, once people stop buying, we're expecting that to happen just like every other system out there. We will already be prepared for it with as much revenue we can generate as possible. So during the whole, when we do have hype, people are coming in, we will be actually compounding a lot of the revenue we're creating to continually build that whole revenue stream.
Nice.
And so that's our focus, because that's, at the end of the day, every protocol is going to die unless outside revenue is coming in. And so that's where we're hitting that from the start. That's our focus at launch. When we run our pre-sale, 50% of what we raise is going to start this revenue stream. So we're going to be starting, if we come up with $1 million, $500,000, we'll start earning revenue right away before we even get launched. Some of it will be coming in. And that's something you don't ever, I've never seen that before. Maybe it exists, but it's very rare if it does.
Nice.
All right, so a new way to stake. This is kind of where all the magic happens. We're still working on the name. Right now we're on stable staking. We're not sure that's correct, but it's based on value. So we've been with value-based staking. We had what do we have? Solid staking.
Solid staking, but yeah, it's going to be stable staking. So that it's a new form. It kind of best describes the system. So stable staking is what we're going to be going with.
Yeah, actually, I thought of another one the other night, pegged staking, and there's a reason for that, and I might get into it, but we'll see. So basically, our staking system, at the time you stake your Fathom tokens, the dollar value is captured, and that is basically locked in. So if you stake $1,000 worth of tokens, that's what you're going to get your rewards paid on, no matter what the price of Fathom does. The real reason we came up with this was it's so easy to buy and stake the top. And then as the price drops normally, because everything's based on tokens, your rewards also drop with the price. And to me, that's very unfair. It's also, it kills projects because I've looked at many charts that were green for a while, just constantly going up. And I'm like, I'm not touching that. I'm going to buy it and it's going to drop. And because in the past, that's what happened. So in our system, it's a protection built in so that if you do buy and stake and it does drop, your rewards are locked in at the value when you bought and staked. And that's something that I have not seen anywhere else. And this is actually October of last year of 2021 was when I kind of came up with this. I remember calling Bishop and I was like, dude, let's base it on the value. And his first response was like, okay. And I was like, no. And I had to go through and show him. And then he got like super excited because once he realized what this means, not only for every investor, but also the attention we could get. I mean, because let's face it, people buy because of hype, right? They're expecting the project to do well. And this alone could create a sense of hype or an amount of hype that we can't even fathom what it could do.
And the thing here is, and one of my first thoughts, I think, when I was first talking to you guys about it, is it would be really hard to keep paying those rewards. But because when people get out, the money kind of shifts hands and there's that tax on it, it gives you that ability to keep those rewards going at that level, even as the price drops, because you're paying people less. Because there's less people. Sorry, you're not paying people less. You're paying less people, I guess is the better wording for it.
Yes, you're getting ahead of us, but that's fine. That's
Right.
actually on the page anyways. But so we do have an example. Just, if 1,000 Fathom tokens are worth $100 at the time of staking, the staker is allocated 100 mass. So mass is the name of our dividend tracking token. And just to be clear, every staking protocol has a dividend tracking token. Generally, what it usually happens is, like even truth seekers, if you stake 1,000 truth seekers, there's another token called S-Truth that's sent to your wallet so that the system knows how much of those rewards you're supposed to receive. So in their case, 1,000 tokens will get you 1,000 S-Truth. So that is something.
Quick interruption. I apologize. I know that this came to my thought whenever I first was reading your white paper. This is not the same as Momentum Project and their mass token.
Correct. We named mass back in like March.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I saw Momentum launched and what they were doing, and I knew that they were going to fail, I was kind of like annoyed. I was like, God dang, this is going to mess us up once we start getting out there with our mass, which mass is not a tradable token. It's just a tracking token, but ours is not based on the number of tokens you stake, but the value, the dollar value at the time of staking. Okay. So that's the one thing that we actually have to point out as a staking protocol that nobody else does.
Yeah.
Because ours it's different and it has a reason for it. And so what Justin was just saying, when you unstake your tokens from the staking system, right? Those dividend tokens are forfeit, which is the same as any other system. However, and generally they're all burned, but 75% of ours are burned, but 25% of them are actually reflected to all the remaining stakers. So keep in mind, right? These are based on a value. So if you've got 1,000 mass, the value of your stake is basically $1,000. Those reflections of those mass tokens, as you receive those, the value of your stake actually increases and your rewards will increase. Because it can come, especially after like a large unstaking, you could go from 1,000 mass to 12, 13, 1,400 mass. We have no clue what to expect. But so that then now your rewards are no longer based on the initial value, but at that current number of mass that you have. And that is another thing that I have not seen. And one of the videos we made recently is a new way to reflect. Because we're not reflecting Fathom tokens, we're reflecting the tokens that determine your rewards. So that your rewards can constantly be increasing over time with you doing absolutely nothing.
And I think we need to clarify here that the mass is how you get your rewards tokens. The only way to get more Fathom in our system is if you're staked. Yeah. So once you're staked, you get mass tokens, and then we're giving out X amount of tokens every 15 minutes and dividing it among all the people with mass. So the more mass that you hold, the more of those tokens that you're going to receive every 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
And all right, so the burning of mass is also actually very powerful. Because, there's a big thing about burning tokens. I'm not going to fully go into my feelings on burning regular tokens like if we were burning Fathom. There's a reason we're not burning Fathom. Honestly, it sounds great, but it's not as effective as people think, and it's only effective for those who are in before the burn, and really a ton has to be burned to make a difference. But anyways, But when we burn mass, because mass actually represents a dollar value, so that's essentially total mass is our liability. If we have 1 million mass and we're paying out 1% daily, we're essentially sending out $10,000 worth of Fathom tokens every single day. In the event a lot of people unstake and sell, and that $1 million or that million mass, say it drops down to 500,000, which is a huge drop. Now we're paying 1% on 500,000, which is $5,000 per day of tokens. So our sustainability just increased so much. And I did do the math on that. In that event, if you stayed staked the whole time, you would have actually received about 50% more mass tokens. So we become much more sustainable, and everybody's rewards go up by 50% that stayed in the system.
Crazy.
And that's if a lot of people unstake and sell. And that was kind of something that I realized while we were building all this. And there's no other system that I know of that everybody basically gets better off when a lot of people sell and leave.
Diamond hands usually get wrecked.
Generally speaking, yes, the best way to lose money is to buy and hodl, right? Hold on for dear life, because most of the time your stuff's gonna become worthless. Yep. And so this actually counters that massively. Ooh, that was not intended there. Actually, it wasn't. So yeah, that's a couple of features that are built in that are so different from what's out there, and it's again to protect the investors, because I mean this is built because I really want to invest in this. Mm-hmm. And that's what I seek out. Like, what do I want to get? How do I want to see this as an investor? So this isn't built as some dev going, oh wow, this could be cool.
I could make lots of money off of this, which is what 90% of them I think do.
Right. Well, that, and I've seen a lot of them. They're like, oh well, this function should bring hype. Like, let's stop trying to bring hype and let's do things that is actually good for the investors when the normal negative aspects happen, because people are gonna sell. Like anybody that says, hey, we're gonna just keep going up, yeah, that's BS. I'm sorry, but you can't control other people. And if a system is, if I guess the life of the system is dependent upon investors doing the right thing, it will fail.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you mean I can't go on YouTube and just tell people, why are you doing this? And they'll stop doing it?
Exactly. Why are you selling? Well, because that's what
I don't understand.
Buy and sell, right? And so, yeah, so we've made this to counter that. Like the normal, when people usually would unstake and sell, that's looked upon badly because it's dropping everybody's value, it's dropping everybody's rewards, it's dropping everything in the system. But for us, it makes us more sustainable and everybody's rewards increase. And it's so backwards from the normal. And that's what's been our issue of trying to get this really understood. So I'm very glad we're getting to do this AMA, because, you're hopefully, we're going to be able to share this and get the word out, because
exactly.
It's a lot of neat stuff in here, and it's built into the system.
And we will have an example here coming up again soon. So we have a few different charts that we can show you guys, but we got to get through a few different concepts before just shouting out to Jay.
Not to give a spoiler alert, but you guys do have a working dApp already that you've been testing and stuff, unlike most protocols, which it seems like it almost comes out the second they launch, which is not always the best.
Yeah, this is not a promise to make this. This is already done. We've spent the last year developing this. We had a seed sale. We raised it as we needed it to get this developed through actually a really good development company. And they're a full company. We have contract with them. They signed NDAs and everything, so we know exactly who they are. And they're very legit. And so this is done. This is completed. This is how this system works, not what we're promising to make.
Yeah, exactly. And just a quick interruption, guys, because we do have a few new people in here. Don't forget to hit that like. That helps the algorithm pull more people, so more people can see what Fathom is all about. So obviously, I appreciate it, and they appreciate it. And thanks, guys.
Are you trying to take advantage of us and grow your channel?
Of course. I'm very transparent, also, by the way.
I see what you've done here. Yeah. That's fine. So just to really quick too, and we'll get more into this later, stakers are allocated rewards every 15 minutes based on amount of mass held. And again, that comes from our rewards pool. All this stuff is actually adjustable, so we can adjust if needed. If the reward percentage drops, we can turn it up. If we decide in the future we need to change the amount of or how often they are sent out, like the system is, we've been very dynamic. The system is very dynamic on its own, but we've also set it up so we should never have to relaunch this entire thing, because honestly, that is just going to be a pain in the neck, and I don't want to go through it. It's been enough just trying to get launched once.
Hey, Pocket Aces, I have a quick question for you. Is there a way for me to respond to people in the comments section?
You have to kind of have the YouTube up and stuff, but I can definitely pull some questions up if you want me to, and we can do them live at points. I do have some I've already starred for later on when we're not in the middle of something.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to see if I could do that while it's going on, but I understand how I need to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, okay, so we'll move on to the way we're rewarding, which we touched on a little bit here. So yeah, the ocean, right? So Fathom, it kind of gave us that water theme. So the ocean is our rewards pool. It's 50% of supply at launch. Let me actually read and see what this says here.
And I'll pull up.
So that's what I just talked about. The percentage of the pool is going to be sent out every 15 minutes at start. So treasure is basically going to be your unclaimed rewards. There is actually on our D app the chest, which has your treasure in it, like the treasure chest. And so you'll be able to see all of that through the D app. So waves. So the ocean sends out waves, which are the rewards, sending to the mass, which is basically a landmass. And that's kind of where all this came from. Yes, we had tons of time to really brand this and come up with all this fun stuff, because nobody wants to get into something that's boring.
Exactly.
Really
nice to add some spice.
Right. So at launch, every 15 minutes, something that's boring.
Exactly. Add some spice.
At launch, Bishop.
You want to mute that, Bishop?
Mute.
Oh, my bad. Yes,
I heard it.
Just heard that too. There we go.
When it started, I started hearing you twice, Justin, and I was like, oh no, I had to mute the YouTube. But
sorry, I got like 10 windows open right now trying to multitask for y'all.
Appreciate the efforts.
Yeah. So the waves. That's the act of the rewards being sent out to be allocated to your wallet every 15 minutes, and based on the percentage of the pool and on how much mass you actually hold compared to the total mass that exists. And so you will be able to either claim it or compound the treasure as you receive it. There are no limits. So if you wanted to compound every 15 minutes for some reason and pay more gas than you're receiving, that's up to you. You have that ability. Unless you've got like millions of dollars in here and you're claiming thousands of dollars every 15 minutes, that would be cool for you. So the tides. So we actually do have plans to change the rewards and how frequent they are. Whether if we see a need to become more sustainable, we can lower them, but also it gives us an ability to generate hype. Because the one thing I've noticed in many other projects is when you increase rewards, it increases the hype, and you generally see a lot of new people come in. Like for instance, the one I was very involved with, when they decided to do a relaunch so they could add staking to their system, because it was just a reflection token with a buyback system. And once they decided to do the relaunch, they actually went from 2% reflection to 8%. Everything that was going to the buyback, they just sent out to reflections. And the price, at that point, it was at a low, and it actually started jumping up, and it continued. And then they took the 3% marketing and sent that to reflection. So became an 11% reflection token. And they wound up hitting a new all-time high. So they went, 5 or 6x from where they were at the low. And this was actually a fairly stable price because they had a ton of liquidity when they launched. But so I saw that and I was like, okay, cool. So increasing rewards brings hype, and we could bring new people in. So we have the ability to adjust that when we, want to increase the hype and bring a whole lot of new people in. That becomes a whole new marketing strategy.
And I think this might be, and hopefully I'm not stealing any more thunder, a good time to talk about that a bit, is you guys actually are maintaining a lot of control, which definitely does send some people for flags. But I think a lot of the problems with a lot of protocols too is they've given away all the control. So the neat thing here is you have that ability, but I think there's even more than that. You have ability to kind of manage things to hopefully, again, help investors if it's planned right, which I think I've seen other protocols try and do, but fail quite miserably because they've either not used it in the proper way or whatever. So I don't know if it's a good time to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, if you'll notice, I mean, you know, I was in the depths of degen world, which it's okay. That's fun, right? There's a lot of excitement to it because you can make a lot of money, but most of the time you wind up losing, which kind of sucks. But the idea of making all that money in the degen world, it's just very exciting to me. But what generally happens, right? So especially like on a fair launch, you wind up, you've got people coming in saying, hey, is the dev doxed, which most of the time they're not in that case. But as the contract renounced, that seems to be very important. They want the liquidity locked for, 14 billion years for some reason, right? So that they want the dev to have zero control once trading starts. But then after it could be a day or two, it could be weeks or months. Next thing you know, as the price is dropping, you start seeing those memes that are like, hey, can the dev do something? Well, the answer is no, because you made sure that the devs had no control. So there are no controls at that point, and the project just dies every single time. So having control over a lot of the stuff is very important for the longevity of projects. And like basically one of oh, sorry, I just saw the bishop looks like Tron mix. Okay, don't look at that. That was distracting.
Sorry. Some interaction for the people.
No, that's cool. Shoot, I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry, sent you off on the loop. But
No,
yeah, and you were just going through, like, I think the whole the non-control, and the memes come up, and obviously that's
Yes.
where things get pretty hectic for the protocol, and then people panic, and well, in your case, they sell, and that helps us.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's a whole different story there, and a whole different strategy, which we're probably not going to necessarily take, because if a lot of FUD happens and everybody sells out of the protocol, but me, now I get all of the rewards come from the ocean. I benefit from all the revenue that we're generating, which, by the way, the revenue will not be affected by people unstaking and selling. Because unlike some other recent protocols where when people sold out, they were taken from the money they were earning within their bots and sending it back to the liquidity pool so people could leave because they were trying to maintain a price. We don't ever have to do that. Whatever gets into our revenue stream stays in our revenue stream. So in that case, if everybody else unstaked and sold out except for me, I will be golden. I will be set. I get all the revenue coming in essentially, and I get all the rewards coming from the ocean. So that's fine if everybody wants to do that. That being said, in a less extreme measure, as a lot of people do unstake and sell, which again, we're expecting to happen. This is DeFi. It's going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody who's staying is going to benefit from that.
Nice. And again, something unique again. That's what we did this, and that's why we had a couple of chats and then decided to try and get this out, is to give everybody the first dip into the whole thing. But my whole thing is it's something different. Yes, it takes on everything that's there, and that's really another protocol. One of his mantras is nothing in DeFi really changes; it evolves, and that's what needs to happen. Is we need another evolution, and why I think this is kind of neat and different. Not financial advice, guys, but I think there's lots of opportunity for some faster evolution if people see these strategies actually changing what's happening in the protocol, as opposed to everybody just forking and maybe, oh, I did it differently. I did 2% instead of 2.5. Like, it's just
more sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's been such little things, and especially bot season has brought a lot of lack of ingenuity, even more so than before, because bots have been here prior to this phase of bots. So definitely some neat ideas here that I hope kind of catch on and have some ability to change the landscape a little bit. So
exactly. So that was a very short answer for tides. the ability to change things to sustainability or create hype.
Yeah.
So the weather it's basically our buyback system. It's going to be a contract. So we're going to send BNB or BUSD to the contract. It's going to take a percentage of that and buy back however, whatever time interval we have set. And all of those tokens that are bought back are sent back to the Ocean rewards pool to be sent back out to all the stakers. So we're not burning tokens. We're basically creating this circular ecosystem. We send out tokens, they get sold, we buy them back, they get ready to be sent back out.
Yeah, nice.
So, and at some point, our revenue will probably equal what we're sending out. And so that really creates a true floor. And that's assuming everybody receives their rewards and sells them like daily or whatever, or very frequently.
Nice.
And that's something else that we've not really seen. We started with a buyback and distribute model. But again, with the whole initially going with crypto miners, it was going to be months before we could be there. So we came up with sending out from a pool so we could be consistently sending out rewards from the very start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want everybody to have to wait, 2-3 months before they actually start getting rewards in, because, it'd be like every other protocol where they launch, there's hype and they sells way down and now their price is, 1% of what it was. And we're like, hey, we can give you rewards now. Woo,
Yeah, exactly.
By that point, everybody's left. So, and so the jet stream, that's actually what we've called our reward stream, or our revenue stream. Sorry. So if you think of everything here, it's basically an ecosystem. You can think of it just like, our planet, the ocean, the waves, the tides, the weather, and then the jet stream, which is basically controls everything else. It's the main part of our system that's feeding the ocean and working for every investor. And that's basically wherever we have everything we can to earn as much revenue as we can, so that when other protocols die, we'll be prepared for it.
So another thing to think about is like when you stake, you're basically creating your own private island. You stake for $100 and you got basically a little islet sandbar or something, but then you stake for $10,000 and you got a bigger island, your own private volcanic island, So the bigger island you have, the more waves you get, the more treasure and rewards that you get as rewards.
So this is going to turn into a tropical game where I can build my own island?
Yeah, totally. We're going to have it so like the more mass you have, it kind of unlocks different NFTs and such in the future. But that's something down the line. Nice.
Somebody was asking earlier, the guys you guys have, and I know we kind of talked about in the chat, but the guys you guys have here are not part of your NFT program or anything like that. They're just your avatars you've created, but
not yet. No, yep, they're just my avatars right now.
A couple of things while we just because I don't want us to go too long. We're at 40 minutes. I definitely want to cut it out at an hour, but I do want to get through some more things with you. I think this was a neat idea. I cannot do them, but I think if you guys could find somebody that's good at whiteboards, that could be a really cool way to get information across to people. I've seen some really talented people do that. So just a little suggestion from somebody in the audience that I think would be cool.
Yeah, that's fine. The biggest thing is how do we present this that it's easy to understand,
digest, yeah.
And it's not even that complicated when you break it down. It's just so different.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where the main confusion comes in. Like for example, right? So this was what I figured was the act of buying and staking, which is a function we have in our system. So if you buy $1,000, like $1,000 worth of BNB of tokens in a single action, you could buy and stake, so you'll get rewards on that initial $1,000. So you're not taking that 15% buy tax before staking. Plus, again, DeFi, it's a movable token. If you happen to buy Fathom and then the price dropped by like 10%, and then you get to stake, now you've lost that 10%. So in order to counter that, we have a buy and stake function. So it's all done in one spot or one shot. And that's another protection, especially as the price, if it's been rising for a while and you want to still get in because you see what this thing can do, you're protected. But I ran this, what I expected was the act of buying and staking, everybody's rewards would actually drop because as more mass is generated, everybody receives less tokens. But every simulation, no matter how much liquidity I put in or price that I started at, what happened was when buying and staking occurred, the value of the tokens increased at a faster rate than you got less tokens. So actually, and this was based on if you had 5,000 mass, and every 24 hours there's only $20,000 that are bought and staked. This is actually a simulation of what your rewards will look like every 24 hours. So actually the way of the buying staking increases everybody's rewards, and this is actually taking out the tax tokens and selling them off as well. So that it's accounting for that as well. Without doing that, it was actually quite a bit higher. But yeah, so buying and staking, if only that occurred for a while, everybody's rewards would be increasing as that occurred, which was also backwards because that's not how every other system works. So there's a few things too. Part of what we're focusing on is the way we're managing everything. Because I know everybody's been in the token that it failed, and afterwards you're like, wow, they really screwed up the management of that. That was very poorly managed.
Yeah.
And so we paid very close attention to how others managed everything in their system and have tried to come up with what we think is a very powerful way to do this. So for instance, we have what's called a whirlpool. So every project, or most, at least the legit ones generally, they'll have what they call dev tokens, which are going to be used for paying influencers or giveaways, contests and stuff. So instead of having a certain amount of tokens at launch, which we could run out of, we're taking 5% of the total supply. It's going to be staked and earning from the ocean at launch. So the rewards coming in from that is what we'll use as dev tokens. So we'll never run out. There might be a time where we need more and we just have to wait a little bit to get some more in, but they will be ever coming in and actually always growing because that will receive the mass reflections as well.
Yeah.
And so we've got that built in for ourselves to always be able to have access to wallets, and that will be through a multi-sig wallet because, again, 5% of the supply in one wallet is kind of scary. So we're adding that protection for everybody.
Let's get through the whirlpool because this one could take a long time to fully describe exactly how this is going to work and the different benefits that could be. We'll allow people kind of go in there and do a little bit of research themselves.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so then 25% of our DevOps wallet, that's basically the marketing, and it's going to cover everything to run the protocol. Any salaries we have to pay out, anything for marketing and stuff. So 25% of all the taxes received are going to go to the DevOps. The other 75% goes to earn revenue.
And that's where you're buying your validators and doing your different
bot trading out.
With the 75% of all taxes we'll be using for that.
Which I want to point out, when we saw the initial ones using like crypto miners, they had like a 10 or 11% tax and like 4% to go to crypto miners. And I remember looking at that going, wow, that's not enough. They should double that. Like have their 10, 11% tax, but do 8% to miners. Because why are they not investing in the future of the protocol?
And that's my problem with so many of them, right? They're paying themselves so much off the bat because they know it's not going to last. It doesn't show that that longevity or sustainability for your protocol if you're trying to lopside it that way, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So this guy just goes over our DApp, which actually we can show you here in a minute. It is live on testnet. So I'm not going to go into this at the moment. Their buy and stake function. Yeah. So we've actually created possibly a new term called Stakeonomics because there's a lot that happens when staking occurs, right? Because we do have a staking tax of 25%, and the reason for that is when you do stake into our system, you're adding actually a liability for us to have to pay out to. So that 25% tax, 75% of that at the minimum will go to generate revenue so we can support what we're paying out to you. Mm-hmm. And so that's actually why we have that 25% tax. And we've caught a little bit of pushback on that, but I want to also just point out really quick 2 other projects. One of them is the drip token. You stake those tokens, you can never get those back. It can take you 100 days to earn them back. Essentially, it's 100% tax. They're just not calling it that. And all of these nodes that launched about a year ago, like I know Power Nodes is one, there's many others. You take X number of tokens, you create a node, and those nodes exist forever. You can never get those tokens back. So that's also a 100% tax. So we're not even taxing you nearly as much as those, because you'll be able to unstake your tokens in the future. But instead of just taking those tokens and putting them in a pool to give out, we're taking that tax and using it for the good of your investment as well as the overall protocol.
Nice.
Just want to make that clear.
Very good thing to make clear.
Yeah.
They're not lost tokens like most of them. They're not.
Right. We're utilizing everything and trying to keep everything into our own Fathom token, which is why the revenue buys back our own token. So the taxes again, this goes over it. But so now the 75% being used for the jet stream, we're going to increase that as we can. If we can get that up to 100% of trading taxes goes to generating revenue, that is the goal. Whether or not that could ever happen or how long it could take, we have no idea. Because 5% of revenue generated is going to come back into the DevOps wallet. So eventually that will be enough to run everything. Yep. And when that occurs, we'll be able to take all the taxes to generate more revenue.
Nice.
Okay, so this is very important, especially if you're looking to get in the pre-sale. The time lock in our Ripple system. So when you stake, it starts this 8-day Ripple system. So the first 2 days, your tokens are locked. You cannot unstake. After the first 2 days, every 2 days it changes. It's a 75% tax to unstake, then 50, then 25% tax. Again, this is just to unstake during that first 8 days. Mm-hmm. After 8 days, there is no more penalty. And those tokens that are collected from that are not sold. They're actually sent right back to the Ocean rewards pool. So in the event, especially if we're up a lot, 2 days after launch, and I'll just use an extreme example. If we're, say, at 40x, and we know people are going to buy into the pre-sale looking to get a quick return. So if we're up 40x, people can unstake, take that 75%, and still make it 10x on their funds. But now 75% of those tokens are going back to the Ocean, so we can actually see a sense of being deflationary, right? Within a few days after launch, because those tokens can't be immediately sold. But also because that pool increases, we're sending out a percentage of that pool, so everybody else's rewards will actually go up as well, because now a little bit more is going to be sent out every single wave.
So if there is a pump and dump, you're actually going to benefit the holders, whereas normally it's just the token's done at that point when you see most of them.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. But also this prevents that pump and dump. Like we can't have.
It also stops. You're right. It curves.
We can't have a pre-sale dump. Yeah. At least for the first 2 days. It cannot happen. Every owned token will be locked for those first 2 days. So our launch will look just like a fair sale, which is, again, I love fair sales, and we've toyed with the idea of doing that initially. However, we've grown to the point of realizing, well, we collect money, we could start our revenue stream, plus we had to, it's not been very cheap to build this whole system. So we had to collect quite a bit for that.
Yep.
But yeah, so a fair sale or a pre-sale launch where nobody can dump for full 2 days, they can't dump anything, that's unheard of. So our launch is going to be fun as hell, at least for me. Because again, I love fair sales.
No, that's good. And timelines, I know we talked about it very, very briefly, but we're looking at 2 weeks out, but no exact date yet. Is that correct?
Yeah. So at least 2 weeks out, somewhere in that 15th or so, we'll be looking at doing the pre-sale, and then that'll probably run a few days because it's going to be an uncapped pre-sale, similar to a fair sale pre-sale on pink sale. We can't do it through another program. It's going to be through our DApp because we're taking 50% and earning revenue, and part of our launch strategy, because nobody can sell, we're only using a smaller amount of liquidity at launch. Again, nobody can sell their tokens at launch, so it doesn't matter. So we want it to be more volatile, so we will attract traders, because people who are trading are going to pay the buy and sell tax without adding mass to our system, without increasing our liability. So they're actually going to help us in our long-term sustainability by growing our revenue stream and not really, getting the benefits of it.
Nice. And it helps, get, like you say, get your revenue streams going right away as opposed to waiting, which is good, because most projects wait too long and then it's too late.
Right, and they lose interest, and then by the time they get their revenue going, it's kind of too late. And a lot of those too, they're creating something that they have to then sell to generate revenue, and we're not doing that. We're not, we have nothing to sell. We're just going to generate from what we have. Let our money work for us, just like everybody is trying to do in DeFi.
Yeah.
Get those passive incomes. So we went over mass. Move on that. I did just go over the staking or unstaking with the Ripple taxes and what happens when the mass is forfeited. But again, so if you unstake 50% of your Fathom, you're going to lose 50% of your mass as well. So that ratio will stay the same.
Okay.
So it's not like if you unstake half your bag and you lose all of your mass or something. No, we didn't want to do that. So those two are tied together.
Nice.
So again, so the reflections, right? This is where we came up with a new way to reflect. We're reflecting those tracking tokens. So that's going to affect your rewards over time. They're just going to increase. And there's a chart that I'm going to have created, which is going to be your current rewards based on the amount of mass you received for your stake. And so over time, that will become a chart that just goes up and to the right. Because as you receive those mass reflections, your rewards will increase compared to what you initially got.
Cool.
And that's what everybody wants, right? A chart that goes up to the right, and that's your rewards chart, not the price chart of the token. So we're taking that whole idea of the price has to go up for you to win. That's not the case for us.
Yeah, exactly. And just to get through a couple, or sorry, go ahead and finish what you got there.
No, that's fine. I went over the burn. It represents a dollar value. So the less mass in the system, the less our liabilities, the more sustainable we are. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I know you said you want to cut off. Man, really an hour? Come on.
I can go as long as you want, really, but I just don't want to I want to make sure everybody gets their, it's really to give everybody a taste, right? I did put the Discord in there. And on top of that, so Funny Toro was asking about the website. So I put the Discord in there. That's the best place to go for now. You can see their DApp, and I can technically, I'm not linked up to it yet. I wanted to do that and did not. I don't know if you wanted to show off the DApp a little bit, just to give a little taste of it.
Yeah, no, I will. I was making sure I covered everything. There's the jet stream. We go into other information on validators on those. I accidentally clicked. Shoot. I didn't mean to do that. Oh yeah, let me go here to the Shill School. All right, and I'll go over this and then we'll move on.
So this is quite neat, actually. Yeah.
The Shill School, it's a built-in payment system for shillers. So normally when you generate your link, somebody buys with it and you receive like 1 or 2, whatever percent, you receive it immediately. In our case, 1% of all buys that do not use the actual referral link go and are staked into this Shill School contract. And this won't be live for probably the first 2 weeks. And we're doing that because generally the first couple of weeks, you've got hype. So we wanted to set this payment up to keep people shilling when the hype is starting to die. Mm-hmm. And so once this is live, when somebody uses your link, you're going to receive another dividend tracking token. Works just like mass. It's based on the value of what they purchased, and we call that work because that made sense. So you'll receive these work tokens, and then every 8 hours, once this is live, the rewards that contract has built up coming from the ocean are going to be sent out to all the holders of work. And then those work tokens last for a full 7 days. So after the end of the 7 days, they're going to automatically burn. So you have to continuously be going out and shilling, getting people to use your link in order to earn from this. If we didn't burn those work tokens, then we could end up with a huge number of tokens over time. And some people then earning from this pool forever and no longer shilling. And we didn't want that. We want it to be a payment system for active shillers out there, spreading the word, getting people into our system. And so aside from that being a payment system, why don't you just think about what that could mean just for our project overall, because now you have people truly actively trying to get the word out, which doesn't necessarily, that's not coming out of our marketing budget. That's just the community members going out and spreading the word because they'll benefit from us and we benefit overall, which also means every investor benefits because, again, we're building up that jet stream throughout all of this. Every time somebody buys in, we're building it. Every time somebody stakes, we're building it, right? Even, we got a smaller sell tax because we don't want everybody to become punished necessarily for selling. But even that, it's going to still build our jet stream. And that's what our focus is building that up.
Well, and what I like about this is you're not giving it away right when everybody's already hyped, like you said, hyped up and already buying in, and people are just benefiting by having their community get in for it for you when they probably would have anyways. And secondly, it's not like it's just a flash in the pan where I just get everybody in and then I get to sit on and I can put in $10 in and just sit on money coming in based on me doing diddly squat. So.
And so again, if people are buying in without using those referrals, then that Shill School contract is just growing. So the payment system is going to increase over time on its own.
Nice.
And that doesn't exist anywhere else either.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
So the Stakeonomics. So yeah, we came up with the Stakeonomic presale.
Yeah. Why don't we show them our DApp here?
Yeah. No, I was just making sure I'm not missing something else here. That's not too important at the moment. This is something that probably people want to see, a launch allocation. These are based on two different amounts of pre-sales, but actually I got to change this because we cut our other pre-sales short. So never mind.
Exactly.
But yeah, so never mind. I got to adjust that. I just forgot. Since Truth Seekers came in, we shut down our other pre-sale, and so I have to change all that stuff. So
yep,
and this just goes over us as the core team, and then this will have all the information once we're up and running. Everything's created.
And I guess with the app, was there specific, because some people were asking about AMA, or sorry, what external revenues and stuff. Is there anything specific you can say right now about the revenue sources while we're showing off the D app, or what you're planning to do with the revenue sources?
Yeah, so actually one of the things I do want to do, since they're doing well, is get a hold of the devs for PGV and Rely Fund. Okay. And have a conversation with them and see if there's a way we can get to know them better, make sure that these things are going to be legit and not fail, because I mean, not all of it, but a chunk of money earning 2% daily going to purchase our own token will be massive and help increase our overall revenue earnings based on the percentage of what we're earning daily on, because I mean, validators are not that profitable. But right now in the bear market, it's the best time to get into those.
Yeah,
so they're more of
can be really profitable long term. But you're right. Yeah, you need that.
And that's what we're more gearing towards. We're really trying to gear towards the long term sustainability of our jet stream, and then try to complement that for the quick term, the near term, with other things like bots and these DeFi protocols. So we already have DeFi protocols that we're in and partnered with that can get up to 150% return on an investment per year. So we already have some that we've scouted. We already have 3 different validator chains that we're looking at: Fathom, Fusion, Polkadot. We'll be getting pretty much Ether, Ethereum. We'll be having a validator pretty much on as many chains as possible. And that's going to be one of our big goals, is we're going to operate like a professional validator service. So a lot of these new chains coming out will eventually come to us and ask, like, hey, can you validate for us, because we know your service and your history behind it.
Nice. And then just to this one quickly, because I think this came up earlier, and we kind of talked about it, is you guys are doing some stuff through Truth Seekers right now and other stuff coming down the road, and your faces will probably appear at some point once we get launched and show everybody the proof of concept, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, so we because we got lucky, and Lou came into our Telegram one night. Actually, I was talking to some of our other marketing partners, the Samurai, about how the Shill School works. And they're doing a demo of our DApp here, the Shill ID and everything. But I went over it, and then we had some conversations later. So now we've partnered up, and that was just announced Wednesday, I think, or something, a couple days ago. But yeah, so we'll be using their entire security system. Which I was very glad about, because I know some of the things that we are doing, especially on the management style, is scary. It's stuff scammers would do to steal your money, but we're not trying to do that. And when I found out Truth Seekers and what they were about, I was very glad that they came in and found it, and we're partnering with them, because that is going to hopefully put another sense of security on what we are doing overall, because we're just trying to make this great for everybody, and without some kind of trust in this trustless space, nobody's gonna believe it or try to come in. And so
No, and that's a good point. It's you've got a product here that you need to have access to, like we talked about, I think at the start, you're needing to have access to the contract to change things, to adapt. But that opens up security risks. But with them, they can help give you that affirmation that you're not here to just take all the money and run.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely works out as a good partnership. Nice.
Yeah, and we've had video chats with them. We're not publicly doxing yet, but we're not really trying that hard to hide ourselves.
No.
Like a lot of all these scammers do. They make sure nobody knows who they are so that they can get out and be gone. So we have not been doing that. We're just not comfortable yet with telling the world who we are exactly. I do have another full-time job. I don't really care for them to know that this is coming. I don't know if there could be ramifications. So
Yep.
I've got young children. I'm just trying to do something good, and at some point we're going to be called scammers, especially right after launch, because that's always what happens.
Yeah, well, exactly. Everybody has to do it. It's
right. Crazy people out there, and
another protocol succeed if they're not in it. So somebody's not going to be in it and going to want to say you're a scammer just because of that, which is driving me bonkers about the space.
But we're going to have fudders come in, like there's some out there, especially in YouTube. All they do is that, which ironically, I'm kind of hoping after a few weeks after we've launched that does happen and people unstake and sell, because now we are much more sustainable. Everybody's rewards have increased and the system gets to show what it's truly capable of, which should also bring in another level of hype and then provide a whole new sense of people coming in. I'll feel bad for those who fell for it and sold out and lost either their position of mass because they sold for a loss or whatever, or lost funds in some way, but I think eventually they'll jump back in, but they may not be at the same position they were in.
Yep.
But the weird thing is, again, who's out there going, yes, please fund us so we can be more sustainable and everybody gets better rewards. Please do that. We're not going to be begging for that. But if that does happen, that's actually going to be helpful for us.
Yeah.
In the long term. And everybody else who staked.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So dashboard. Not all of this is.
I don't know if you actually could. Sorry to interrupt. If you maybe want to share your screen, I can show it for this part, just because the avatar and it's not centering the whole screen for you.
Oh, okay.
Just your avatar's cool and all, but it might look better if we show off the DAP in its full glory.
Let me find the screen I need.
It should be the present button in the middle. Sorry, I guess I should have you could also go this route. I forgot that we didn't need to create that.
My God, ignore all the tabs. If you can see those. Yep, they're there. Yeah, I do a lot of research. So.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, so here's, again, the dashboard. This stuff, I've asked our devs to just hook it up to make this accurate, and I guess with the holidays and stuff, they haven't done it yet. But things that are accurate, like the holdings, the amount of Fathom staked, total mass existing, this should say mass. Then the mass reflections, like I was saying before. So we do actually track the mass reflections. You'll be able to see how much you received from that. And actually, I might be able to make that increase here because I did buy and stake a couple wallets the other night to make that possible. And then also total treasure received. It's been several days. So 1,000 mass has received $76.402 in treasure. And oh yes, I do have this. So let me put two side by side here.
And I guess to clarify, everybody, this is on testnet, so this is not a real launch. It's just them testing out the system, just so they don't think, why can't I get in now?
Right. I've been been testing this actively since September, and every time they fix something or relaunch it or whatever, I go right back in to make sure everything is operating like it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sharing screen, so you should see both of these, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
And you gave a little plug for G'day Crypto. He's another YouTuber. It's really good. So
we've actually got a meeting with him coming up. I know I wasn't sure what was behind there. I was like, oh gosh, what am I going to show when I shrink this down? All right, so these are two different wallets. You can see the wallet addresses. That's the dev wallet. Never mind. Hold on, let me switch over. I've got like 10 testnet wallets running right now.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. That's the right one. So what to notice on this is, first off, this one has 67 million tokens. This one's 42 million. It shows the value of each of those bags. So this one's worth $1,600. This one's worth just under 1,000, but they both have the same number of mass. And I did this on purpose, bought and staked at different prices to show this, right? So since there was mass reflections at one point, which I created by unstaking another wallet, they've each received the same reflections. Therefore, their rewards are the same. And that's what this does with the value-based staking or the stable staking, is even though they bought and staked at a different price of Fathom, they both bought and staked with the same amount of funds. So they're both going to receive the same rewards. And that's what's very important about this system and how well it works. And again, if that price drops, this right here is what determines the rewards. In our Discord, I use these same two wallets. At one point, the value of this was like $414 or something. And I was showing how, in the event of the unstaking and selling, you would think, when the price actually cut the price in half, you'd think the rewards cut in half. But because of the burning of the mass, the rewards cut down to like 64%. But then the mass reflections, so this wallet, even though the Fathom price cut in half, they were still receiving 70% of the rewards they were before. And that was without adjusting the amount coming out of the reward pool. So that was me doing nothing else, just unstaking and selling other wallets. And that's something else that makes us hugely different when it comes to a rewards or a reward system tied to a token that changes prices, because it doesn't do what normally would happen. And then I wound up even, and if you go through them, I know you said you did, I guess today or yesterday, or tried to, because then I actually increased it back to that 1% daily, and then showed it again after 24 hours that, yeah, we got 1% over the day with the price remaining at that lower price, because then this stayed at that $414 value or so.
Nice.
So I've been trying to show this because that makes it's easier to understand it when you actually see it working.
Yeah, that'll be big for people.
So,
okay.
Are there any other?
Yeah, no other questions have come in the last little bit. I posted most of them as we were going through. If anybody else does have any questions, now's the time, because we will probably wrap this up any minute. A couple of quick plugs, very, very, very quickly. But if everybody's done here, once we're done here, Yabonks is having a little New Year's giveaway, so I'll give him a little plug. I'll probably end up on there. I was on there just before coming live here, and I know Yabonks, I believe, is going to be doing a little thing for you guys on this project, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, we had met with him on, I guess on Friday.
Yeah.
And so we have something coming up where we're going to probably do something very similar, a big breakdown of everything, which I love. And I want to do this many times because, it's going to come out of a different perspective from you, and then it will from Yabonks. And
yeah, no, and he's great. He's got a very detailed mindset, and we'll definitely challenge you guys with some great questions and get hopefully some good understanding from his perspective and yours, which will be great. So,
right. Awesome. All right. So this is another one. I just switched over to this wallet. I hope I bought this over 2 days ago so I can unstake it, just to show what happens. And so, yeah, live demonstration of the mass reflections and burn and everything. So this is what its current value is here. This is the treasure. So we're just going to go to stable state. You know what? You guys suck. You're scammers. I'm getting the hell out of here. Let's unstake.
Unstake and get out of the protocol.
Oh, it's locked for 2 days. Wrong. Hold on. This one I bought just like, I got a few more. I have another one. Hold on. I can't remember which wallets I did when.
Well, while you're finding that one, I guess. So, guys, yeah, thank you so much for viewing this. And by all means, if you guys have any questions, obviously the next call to action and the free one, as always, as we all talk about, is heading over to the Discord. I have posted the Discord a couple of times. I will put it in the description of this video because it will launch as a reviewable after this. Yeah, come by the Discord. They're a great team. I've had some good little chats with them, and they've opened up a couple of you guys actually last night, I think it was the night before, sorry, had a little impromptu chat in your Discord, which was really great and helped me understand the protocol a little better, which was great and very open to questions. I was challenging a couple of things in a positive way, but you guys were really great at taking that and helping everybody's understanding. So I appreciate those kind of efforts by you guys. So.
No, and that was great because I like those questions because it's you came from another perspective and you're asking things that we had not heard, especially, or we might have at some point, but not for a while. So Whenever we open a voice chat or whatever in our own Discord or Telegram, please join us if you have any questions. We want to hear what your questions are. We need the different perspectives because this is different. It can be confusing, and we need to figure out the best way for us to explain this to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'm currently unstaking. This one I did, luckily, more than 2 days ago, so they're not locked. I knew I had done one within, like, I guess 2 nights ago, so I've got probably 7 more hours to get beyond that, and I was hoping it was not the one I chose before.
Always is when you're live.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's fine. It showed the locking period, right? Originally, it was like, let's do 100% tax for 2 days, and I was like, no, because people are going to unstake, and they're like, where'd all my money go? But let's just lock it. So it kind of works. Okay, unstaking success. By the way, testnet is slow as hell sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work. Can't wait till we're live on mainnet. All right, so let's go ahead and update this wallet. So as we see, we're just trying to keep a mental thing here. 83.541 mass reflections, 1,076 mass currently. Send that over. So there we go. We just went from 83 to 105, so 22 mass reflections. So that's 1% daily on $22 more this wallet will receive from now on, unless they unstake and get rid of their mass.
Okay, so that's coming from somebody else leaving. That's your example of that. Neat. That's awesome.
Yes. So this guy here decided we suck and they're not going to make money. Or actually, let's think. What is the reason people normally sell? In my experience, it's because you think others are going to sell and the price is going to drop. So he's decided everybody else is going to unstake and leave, so he's going to do it first.
Yeah.
But now this guy just benefited from it. He's got a higher mass, and yeah.
And the nice thing is I come to the DApp, I look at that and I go, hey, yay me. Yes, I thought this dump was going to affect me, but it actually has in a positive way.
Exactly. Now that was just the unstaking. Of course, there is also the selling portion. Oh, by the way, too, we've actually gone to the point of when you stake all of your Fathom tokens, one stays in your wallet, so you're still considered a holder. I've seen many things not do that, and then you might have 1,000 people staked, but you've got like 180 holders, you know? So everybody who is staked will still show up as a holder because that one token is left in there.
Nice.
Which, by the way, is still sellable. I've got this set to 40% slippage because it's very volatile. So I was collecting a crap ton of tokens, and there's not a whole lot of liquidity. So
yeah, that's a testnet problem.
Yeah, when I was doing the conversions and it was converting over all the let's go here. It was converting all the tokens to BNB. I had to set up the amount so it wasn't doing 1 million at a time for nothing. So it was doing a big price drop just because there's like no liquidity in there.
Nice.
But on here, so yeah, that's going to be I haven't looked at these in a while. So yeah, this is the sell transaction. There's actually not much in it because I had already had the reward sent out a little while ago. I wonder if one of these shows more of what actually happens.
Oh, you're trying to show where the tokens actually get split up?
Yeah, so like this one was 5 million tokens that had been collected were sold. I did a 10,000 buy, or 10,000 sell, so that was 500 tokens collected for tax, and then 9,500, and that's nothing special either. I had one of these that shows like all of the. It might actually be on this one. No. I know I was not prepared for. Oh, here we go. Got some more stuff in here.
Sure.
Yes, this I think was a small buy. It looks like. Okay, so this is OX69. I've been through so many of these. Okay, here's the Ocean rewards pool. Actually, this was at 530 million before, so 6 million tokens have gone in there from that Ripple tax. So we just became more deflationary. And again, this started at 500 million tokens. So we've actually had 36 million added to it just from unstaking after 2 days, and 75% of those going into the rewards pool.
Nice.
Which is kind of fun to see. So this is the Ocean system. The 43, I think this is the rewards being sent out from the staking. That could be 13 million tokens. That's very possible. No, I don't know what that is. I can't remember. All these numbers keep changing on me, and I've looked at so many systems of these. But yeah, this is everything that's occurring. 2,000 tokens. Mass minted. Oh, okay, so this is actually our shilling school. So that's 0.04 mass minted from just 2,000 tokens sent. And actually, we can go here, I think, filtered by token holder. The contract, I don't know if anybody doesn't ever know how to use this stuff. It's actually kind of fun to click
Everyone
through.
should know a little bit about it, so it's always good to give a little bit of peek behind the hood because
Yeah.
realize how this benefits them.
So token mass, right? So this is the staking contract. Here's the contract address. So all staking contracts actually are basically a token contract. And so again, like truth seekers, I don't think I have their thing up, but for them it says S truth, and that's normally they put some letter in front of the token, and that's just the what that token is called, which is sent to your thing. So if we go to holders, this is the biggest holders of the amount of mass. So these two, and this is just like any other reflection token, where this is the amount of mass that was created from staking in this wallet. But if we click on this, it'll actually show the total balance after reflections. So this is one of those two wallets I was just showing. Yeah, so you'll actually be able to see who is the biggest holders that are staked in our system just from this little list.
And I'm sure people will create all kinds of dunes out of this info.
What? No, that never happens. What are you talking about? Bring it on. You know, it's the people to sell. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Jada said the tokens you receive every 15 minutes, can you swap them for USDC, USDT, BSD, or are they staked and you have to unstake them to swap them?
Oh, no. So those you can claim. Mm-hmm. Those you can claim whenever you want. Is this my updated one? Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah, show them the treasure chest.
Yes. As soon as I remember where the heck it is. Chest. Here's your chest. So treasure. So I've got 3.243 million. So yeah, I can claim this or compounding it. Compound is just mean your claim and stake in one shot. If you wanted to go that route.
There will be taxes and stuff involved in that.
There will be the 25% tax, and it resets your wallet based on that 8-day ripples.
Cool. I think it was funny, Turo, that sent it earlier, and I agree. It's neat to have all the nautical terms that you guys have, and you've branded it really nicely, which is cool.
Yeah, and so I know when I had to learn how to talk about this without the nautical terms because it makes more sense that way if you don't understand the nautical terms.
True.
But, it's like, treasure chest. That's just where all your rewards are sent to. So, but now we did make it because compounding or staking anything new on your wallet does reset that ripple tax. This is set up so there is no transfer tax. So if you did want to claim, send to another wallet and essentially compound in that other wallet or stake in that other wallet, you can do that. We're not going to tax you for wanting to do that. Because quite frankly, if you've got a big bag, oh yeah, I guess that's one thing we didn't go over. Oh, come on, Tesla. But
gotta love testnet.
I swear to God, it works. I've done it before. Actually, didn't we have in here claimed treasure? We might have it under the dashboard. It might not be connected.
No, it's only in this one area.
Okay. Well, testnet is being fun. This happens occasionally. It'll probably work in like an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it can be annoying. I hate testnet. Can't wait to be off.
You've been quiet. Is there anything else you wanted to add to everything we've gone through? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Sorry, Bishop. Did you hear me?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying, was there anything else you wanted to add to what we've been going through? We'll probably try and wrap it up there any second now.
I think Sir Jay does a good job of covering everything. Once he gets going, he just kind of like, you just let him go and interrupt where you need to. I was trying to handle any questions that we got in from the community. So I look forward to the community coming in and asking more questions in our Discord or Telegram at any time. We're always here to answer that. We also like to jump in and make VCs a lot too. So you can come in directly, talk to us and ask any questions directly. So looking forward to those experiences here in the near future.
Yeah, so anybody watching the rerun or live, whatever, like I said, go into the Discord. I'll post that right away in the description of the video when it launches, when we close down here. And as I said, come on by. Yabonk's having some fun today if you've never watched any of his videos, and I'll probably sneak in there and say hi. He's got a bunch of different guys, YouTubers and projects coming in live with him today. Yeah, other than that, anything else you wanted to add, Sir Jay, before we send off?
Yes, there is one more thing.
Of course there is.
I know. There's always one more, or maybe 20, but
yeah.
So one of the side effects to doing this based on value at the time of staking means that in the future, after you're staked, if the value of your tokens is more than your mass, you could unstake and restake, and then you'll end up with this 1,500 mass instead of the 10,000 or 1,098.
Oh, yeah.
So you can reset your position when the price has gone up a lot. And
Okay.
now that's part of the reason, that's actually the whole reason we have that vesting schedule, that 8-day Ripple schedule in there, is because we didn't want to, like, if you buy in and stake and there's, massive, you get in right before a bull run and we're going up like crazy. We don't want everybody to then be able to start unstaking and restaking immediately to reset their positions, because that would create a lot of sell pressure, because, we're taking 25% tax on this, which we have to, so we can build our revenue stream to handle the mass that just got created.
Yeah. And
so that's the reason for it. But this is something that, if you think about even stuff like PGV or Rely Fund, assuming that they're going to be around for a long time, once you put $1,000 in, you can only increase that by compounding. With us, you can increase that by compounding. It also will increase from reflections, but you can also increase that or change that potentially by a lot, depending on how much we've gone up. If this was worth $10,000, now I go from $1,000 of 1% on $1,000 to 1% on 10,000 just by unstaking and restaking.
Yep.
And that's really a feature that exists with us. Again, that doesn't exist anywhere else. Yes, if it's token based, if you did the value of it, yours would increase as the token price increases. However, when the token price comes back down, it's going to decrease with it. But in our system, you can lock it in essentially at that higher price. Yep. Which really, that's another way that really sets this whole thing apart. And we're not sure, again, what that means regarding the hype it can bring, because at the end of the day, what gets people to buy your project is hype, whether hype of, a great utility coming out, right? Or
FOMO,
or high rewards,
yeah.
or all the reasons that you see that other projects receive hype, which is generally short-lived. We've got those built in, and many of them are adjustable, so we can create that hype. And so it's all about, growing is all about creating hype, and lasting is all about creating revenue. And so, yeah, we've built those into the system so we can grow whenever we want to, essentially, and we will survive because of our revenue.
Nice. It's all a big experiment, but this one's a really cool one. So I'm looking forward to people to giving this a try. Like I said, not financial advice. Head over to the Discord, learn more about it. I'll definitely probably look at doing some more videos as more understanding comes along. And obviously, you guys, marketing is going to start pretty darn soon. I guess technically starting sort of now. And that's going to give everybody a chance to hopefully learn. And I'm looking forward to seeing the growth and the opportunity this one might give. So thank you so much, guys.
Yes, please. Join the Discord, join the Telegram, ask the hardest questions you have. Yep. And actually, I tell you, I told another guy yesterday, we had about a 2-hour conversation about this, because he's going to do a breakdown video, or videos, I think. Because he was like, hey, on your website, you've got all these circles. Should each one become a video? I was like, maybe it could be helpful, because this, on the website, this breaks everything down. And I told him, I was like, maybe what might help to make this click, because that's generally what happens. You'll learn about it, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then when you start digging into it and realizing what happens, what every function means and how they interact and what can happen overall with the system, once it clicks, then I usually can tell when it clicks, because it's like, oh, wait, hold on. Right. Yeah. And then you can tell it starts to flow. But so what I told him was, find a failure point. Go through this system with a fine-tooth comb and find a failure point and tell me. If I missed something, I want to know so we can get this fixed. So for you also, find the failure point. These, something like Optimus, or the other one that was Mass. I just forgot its name, because Momentum, right? So they were a reflection token that was promising to increase in price. How can that is designed to fail? Well, plus, I don't know if you knew how this thing actually worked, is as buying pressure came in, they allowed the price to increase slowly, but then they were minting, selling tokens, and adding liquidity. So the amount of liquidity tokens increased from like 5,000 to over 300,000. And that happened over like the first 2 weeks. But then as the price was dropping, they were doing the opposite. They were pulling liquidity, buying back tokens, and burning them. They essentially, the system rugged itself in order to try to maintain the price. So that was a failure point built into their system. Anytime you're burning liquidity, that system is going to fail. It cannot survive, because once you're getting rid of that liquidity, it's just forget about it. You know, it's going to fail. And unfortunately, they were built to.
That has nothing to do with us, because we're not built that way. So no reason to talk about it.
My whole point was they had a failure point built into their system. So I want to know if you find a failure point built into our system, and you might find something, and we may already have a fix for it built in, and that makes a great conversation. So and anybody else listening, look for a failure point in this.
I was just going to say, actually, with what you just said, actually, and I think that's another good call to action, which is free, is right now for the next little while, you guys have the testnet running. Anybody can get involved in that testnet.
Yeah.
And to me, it's actually a good learning opportunity for you as an investor. So anybody listening right now, playing in a testnet, it can be frustrating, but it also can be a great learning opportunity. So I guess another call to action would be, get in the Discord, learn how to run a testnet. All it really is adding it to your MetaMask and then interacting with the DApp. You can't really do anything wrong in there, but you can find issues. So that could be another really good call to action for you guys, is if you do have the time, give that a whirl, and it can really help out the protocol and B, you as an investor.
Oh yeah. And so anyone's allowed to go into our testnet right now and jump in and try it out themselves. So it's open to the public right now. We have something written up in our Telegram about how to do it step by step, but we'll transfer that over to our Discord as well.
Yeah, so awesome.
Let me slide this here.
I knew he'd be a hard one to get out of.
No, I know. I'm sorry.
You can't end with him. He just loves to talk.
I was just going to demonstrate really quick for those who don't know how. So in MetaMask, up here on the right, you're going to add a network, add the testnet network itself. It's a custom RPC. Once you've done that, you're basically going to go to.
I think we'll get that to another. We'll get this in another one when we can actually run through it and actually dedicate some time to it, Sergey.
I'll put chapters in here and say testnet intro.
Testnet intro. It's really quick. You guys just fill out this CAPTCHA. They like to do these hedgehogs on rocks. Hopefully, I didn't miss any. And so you go to the BNB faucet and you get your free testnet BNB, which is half at a time. Bam, just got half BNB. So once you've done that, you can come to our thing, connect your wallet, and you're good to go.
Yeah, nice.
See, quick minute. It didn't take long. So,
Bishop, you're gonna have a fun time holding him down and making sure he stays on target for things, eh?
Oh my, man.
I was actually
going to go like page by page, switching it off on it and such. It's all.
No,
good.
I didn't. No, that was going to take too long. No, that's one of the things I meant to say before.
It would have gone it would have gone twice as fast. What are you talking about?
Now. All right. Well, anything else before we close it out? Because we are now at an hour and a half. You did do my record, which is awesome. I need the watch hours anyway, so it's all good.
We could have gone for 3 hours. We could have gone for 3 hours, but
next time we want to do that, we can do it on my channel.
We've done it before.
Oh yes, more than that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, guys, and for everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. There's been some good questions in there, and it's definitely been my most watched of my live AMAs, so I do appreciate you guys and your team for coming by. I'm sure a few of them were in here as well. Again, check out the Discord. We'll get that in there. I'll try and add a few chapters of this one at some point this week, but I am away for the next week, so I won't be as active. And thanks, Sergey and Bishop. This has been I appreciate getting the first look at all this, and you guys have been a blast. Don't run away right away. I always close the podcast and then you guys leave really quickly, but I always like having a chat and I forgot to mention that at the start. So
that's fine.
So we'll shut this down, and thanks guys, and anybody that can head over and check out your bonks.